What's up, though? Cam Hoarder 101 here, and welcome to another Cartoon Network comic review. And if you noticed by looking at the titles, I do not have Powerpuff Girls number 5 here. It's because I haven't gotten a hold of it yet. I will probably pick it up in the next few days. I know it's been out for a few days now, but I just had when I went to the comic shop, they didn't have it, and I just gotta wait on it. But anyway, to suffice for that, I am going to talk about the Powerpuff Girls special that just came out a couple days ago, and we'll start with the comics and then go into that special. I just want to let you know that that's coming at the end, so if you want to stick around for that, it's going to happen. So, let's start with Ben 10. This is Ben 10 number 3, and the cover, well, I guess we'll start with the cover. It looks pretty damn sweet. It sort of introduces you to the new art style that they're doing. The cover's a little bit more detailed than the actual art style, but like if you look inside the comic, they've changed a few things. You could tell their heads are a little bit more like spiked at the bottom, and their eyes are bigger. Kevin is super muscly. I have no idea if he looks like that in the regular Omniverse show, but you just like look and like little things have changed. You could tell even this girl mermaid character, forget her name completely. She looks different. Rook looks different. And here I'll pull up another an old comic, number 2, and I talked about this in a previous version. So here, let's just take Kevin for an example. A scene where, he's sort of being showcased here, his muscles and everything. And here we got like an action pose with Kevin. And, where he's supposed to look super muscly and everything. And here's just Kevin standing still, and you got his epic muscles when he's not really even doing anything. And here he's like showing his strength, and you could barely see any like folds in his arms. So that's just a little. It's a little change. You might not notice it just right away. It'll take a couple pages, but then after a while you'll get used to it. It's not bad. I actually prefer this art style over that one because it's a little bit more detailed. You just it sort of sells the action a little bit more. That's one of my complaints that I've had with this comic book, is it just doesn't feel like really Ben 10 action. And it's been taking a while for it to pick up. Issue number 1 was kind of dull, but then issue number 2 sort of picked up on the action, and then issue number 3 supports that action even farther, and hopefully it picks up even more in issue 4. Looks like, according to the preview, that he's probably going to go Diamond Head, and I'm interested to see how Diamond Head is in this comic book, because he was never my favorite alien, but he was definitely sort of up there. He was a cool alien, but again, not my favorite. Anyway, next, this is brand new Black Dynamite, issue number 1, and this is the subscription cover, which, wait for it. Aw, yeah, Black Dynamite punching a shark. Now, if you don't know who Black Dynamite is, he is this epic, macho, karate black man, and he is just super jiving and awesome strength, everything going for him. He talks in very much like black stereotypes, which is just the humor in it is totally awesome, and it's written by the same people who did the Black Dynamite TV show, which is actually kind of why I'm chunking it with the Cartoon Network comics, because the TV show was on Adult Swim, which is part of Cartoon Network, late night, and it's just awesome. If you haven't seen the TV show, I definitely recommend that. If you haven't read the comic, I definitely recommend that. Obviously, since it's brand new, I don't think a lot of people have gotten a hold of it yet. So, again, my recommendation is out there. This is an awesome comic. Let's actually look at the art style, because I haven't really showcased that, just the cover. It's very almost noir-ish. Like, if you look at certain scenes, like, there's not much saturation in the colors. They're not super bright. They're a little bit washed out, and it suits it for the comic book. I mean, even if you look at the lines, I don't know if you could see them, but like the lines separating the panels, they're not perfect white like the other ones. They're sort of like washed out yellowish, and it's just really cool. And everyone here's got muscles, kind of like that Ben 10 style, but even more exaggerated. Like, all the muscles have shadows, and you can just see their strength. And there's it's also, even though again, like I said, I'm clumping it in with the Cartoon Network stuff, but it's not like, if you're a kid, this isn't the comic for you. There's like swearing, there's violence, there's all that stuff. There wasn't any blood or anything, but if that sort of stuff turns you off, but it's definitely more age restricted than Ben 10, Samurai Jack, Powerpuff Girls, and of course My Little Pony. But I still recommend it, and especially like I'm sure everyone can handle it. I feel like we're at a age where stuff like this doesn't mess people up. So again, it's definitely something you want to take a look at, despite all the violence and stuff. But then again, if that's not your cup of tea, I'm warning you in advance that that comic may not be for you. So. Now this is Samurai Jack number 4. This is the subscription cover as well. The regular cover also looked really cool, and I don't think they have the variants in they never show the variants in the Samurai Jack one for some reason. I don't know why, but it was basically Samurai Jack like walking from a polar bear, and it looked really cool, and I actually wanted that one. But then when I saw this one's also really cool. I mean, it's this huge dynamic shot of this tree, and then I didn't even notice, but Samurai Jack is down here. He looks really sad, and he's just shivered up there in the corner, and he's like, oh. But it's a really neat cover, and it's a very dynamic shot. There's another one, I think, for either number 1 or I think it's number 2, where it's got Samurai Jack in the desert, and I think it might be the same artist. It's the same very stylized, dynamic shot. Of Samurai Jack walking through the sandy desert. It just looks really cool. And if you're like collecting these covers, that's definitely a good choice because they look really nice as a group. So again, that Samurai Jack art style, it's got some similarities to Black Dynamite. Or I should say Black Dynamite has similarities to Samurai Jack, but because this one came out first, it's got those like hard shadows, and it's also got some, all these dot stippling effects around the sides, but it's all stuff that if you've seen my other reviews. A very drawn out lines. You could see like not everything is within the line. Some of the colors like bleed out. Some of the lines bleed out of other lines, and it's just it all looks reminiscent of Samurai Jack, and you could definitely like match it to the quality of the show, even though it's not perfect to the show. It's a bit stylized. And the villain in this one is very cool. It's actually a lady, and I don't recall if there's been a lady villain in Samurai Jack so far. So. It was a very interesting take on, a lady villain. She's kind of that bitchy queen stereotype that kind of rules with an iron fist, and I like that, and the way Samurai Jack defeats her is totally cool, and I'm not going to spoil it. And another thing about them is all those subjects that she rules over, those guys are really interesting characters too. They have some lines of dialogue, and it's good. It's good, that's basically what I'm saying. I can't, get the words to come out. But anyway, all these are going to run you $4. That's usually how IDW prices their regular comics. So not too bad, if I don't say so myself. They're very good reads, and I definitely recommend every single one. So again, I'll do Powerpuff Girls in my next review. I'll clump it with number 6. So I'll do number 5 and number 6 together next month. But let's get into that Powerpuff Girls movie. Or not movie, but it was a special. It was a half-hour special. The one word I will use to describe this Powerpuff Girls special is off. It didn't feel like Powerpuff Girls at all. The only thing that was the same was the voice actors. They brought back all the original voice actors, which was cool, but the dialogue was off. The dialogue was rushed. The art style, though it was cool at points, I really, really appreciate the CG stuff. I mean, that's actually, I'm working with, 3D modeling and animating, right now, so I can appreciate the work that goes into it. It's definitely cool in some shots, there are those dynamic shots that went over the city, and the POV shots when they were flying through the town, and you could see all the buildings in 3D, all the cars. Those were some amazing shots, and they definitely served their point, at points, but just the girls looked off. It looked very jumpy, very jittery. If you really pay attention, they're just kind of it looks weird. And the plot was sort of, I couldn't really get behind it. I liked all the references. They had a bunch of real life scientists when the professor was he was reminiscing about the past, and he met a bunch of scientists. Stephen Hawking was there. There's sort of there's a reference to Fibonacci and all that, so if you're a math man, that's there for you. A lot of references, and a lot of references to dancing, because that's basically what the story revolved around. Was the girls got this Dance Revolution game, and it was tearing them apart, and I don't know. I almost would have preferred if the villain, because the villain was Mojo Jojo, which is the Powerpuff Girls villain. I almost would have preferred if it was a new villain, then that would have kind of sold the reboot a little bit more because it was a new villain and it's not something that was previously established. And I don't know, everything just seemed off. It didn't seem like the proper send-off for Powerpuff Girls, and that's no offense. I'm sure a lot of hard work went into it, and certain aspects looked good and they sounded good. It was just when you brought them all together, it was sort of a just a jumble of a bunch of different things that just didn't really go together. So that's my review. I'm sorry if you don't agree with it. Again, it's my opinion. It's just, I'm not telling you not to watch it. I think it's definitely something you should watch because it's Powerpuff Girls, and if you're a fan of the show, you should at least give it a chance. But for me, it was not something that I really cared for. So, and one last thing about comics in this Cartoon Network comics series, I feel like every month they're releasing something new. And first month it was Powerpuff, then it was Samurai, then it was Ben10, and now they got Black Dynamite. And in a couple months, I believe April, they're doing Dexter's Lab, and they revealed the first cover. I believe it's the retail incentive cover. Looks totally awesome. It's a combination with Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls, a crossover cover, and it looks awesome. And I keep saying totally awesome. I don't know why. It's a bad habit, but it's got Professor and Dexter doing work with the Powerpuff Girls there, helping out. And let me just get this across. If you don't know what variant covers are, they're different covers. That doesn't mean that the plot is going to be a crossover, but that does bring wishful thinking that who knows, maybe there's going to be a plot, because Powerpuff Girls is really liking the crossover in their art. I mean, even in the comic, I've covered it in, I think it was number 3. One of the characters was walking Madame Foster down the street. And, what's Madam Foster doing in Townsville? Is the whole, Cartoon Network... I believe the Cartoon Network universe is all intertwined, but who knows? I would really love to see some crossovers in the comics, and now that it seems consistently that they're releasing new series after series in these comic books, my candidate... Or I got 2 candidates. One, Billy and Mandy. I love Billy and Mandy, and it's really a chance for them to get away with some more crude humor than they could have on the TV show, because comic books are a little bit more open. They can do whatever they want, and I would definitely pick that up because they could totally expand the universe even more. And also, this isn't Cartoon Network, but please bring back Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt. If you've ever seen that show, it's like an American anime. It's from Japan, but it's very Americanized. I definitely recommend you watch that. I would love to see it sort of in light of Black Dynamite coming out. I definitely expect something like that to come out, and I'm here hoping and wishing for that. So let me know what you'd want to see in the future, and I'll see you guys later. Camel Horror 101 out.